Presidential candidates, meanwhile, making their final push ahead of Super Tuesday. This is the biggest day of the year's primary campaign tomorrow. It's voters in 15 states plus one territory, so it's like 16 states. They'll cast their ballots tomorrow. More than 800 Republican delegates are up for grab for the GOP nomination. More than 1,000 are up for grabs for Joe Biden. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, meanwhile, ending former President Donald Trump's undefeated primary win yesterday because Nikki won her first primary. She did so yesterday in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, a new Fox News poll shows that Trump has the edge over President Biden in a potential 2024 rematch. 49% of voters now say they support Trump. 47% said they support Biden. But Nikki Haley fares better than Trump in a race against Biden, according to these numbers, with an 8-point lead over the president. Joining me right now is the Trafalgar Group chief pollster and Polling Plus co-host, Robert Cahaly. Robert, great to see you. We want to get your take on where we are in the race at this point. What's most stunning, or what's your most important takeaway about the polls that you're looking at?
Well, Trump's dominance. I mean, his absolute lead in these states, many of which neither candidate has campaigned, and some of which the Haley campaign has spent quite a lot of money on TV and it's been unanswered. She won D.C. I don't think you build momentum with that. Maybe if she's lucky, she can go the full Mondale strategy and win Minnesota too.
Well,
but, that's not getting anywhere in the Republican primary. It's reinforcing what they say.
We should point out that Washington, D.C. is seen as a Democrat, sort of liberal-leaning region, and she won it. But she's got one win on her belt. I want to look at some of these movements for Trump, though. When it looks at some of the swing districts or some of the groups that he's been trying to resonate with, so we've got this new Fox News poll. It shows 28% of black voters support former President Trump. And in a rematch against President Biden, that's 7 times the number of black voters who supported him in 2020. Trump also sees near record support among Hispanics. Look at this one, 48% and 51% support among voters under 30. 8% of Democrats also support Trump in a head-to-head race against Biden. Robert, walk us through some of these polls and the polls that you've conducted on some of these groups.
That's exactly right, Maria. And one of the things that we find is that when you look at all these groups, all we hear about is there's this very small, undecided middle, and every year each party has to fight for it. Well, Trump is saying, well, I don't want to fight for them. I want to fight for people that are hardcore voters on the other side. And when you look at it, if he does those kind of numbers with the African Americans, those kind of numbers with Hispanics, those kind of numbers with young people, doesn't all this talk about a very small margin of swing voters seem like folly? And you wipe out that base of the Democrats and the election's over. The other thing is, in many of these polls that are out there that are just showing head-to-head, I think we're clear now we're not getting a head-to-head race. And these battleground states need to start including the possibility of Kennedy getting on that ballot and the possibility also of having other candidates, no labels, Cornel West. Those are the ways that these general elections should be measured now.
Yeah, we should point out that Nikki Haley has ruled out the no labels presidential bid. A lot of people were wondering what she's going to do. Is she trying to appeal to the Democrats to say, look, I'll be your candidate if you want to dump Joe? We don't know. But this Fox News poll also finds 58% of voters disapprove of the job President Biden is doing in the White House. 42% said that they approve of it. A majority of voters also said that the Biden administration has mostly failed on its handling of the economy, on its handling of making the U.S. safe, unifying the country, improving border security. Robert, these are all the things that are important to American voters.
Absolutely, and that's why the Republicans need to continue to address them and need to recognize that among that disapproval number are people that Republicans need to be fighting for in the fall, or at least making sure that those people go to someone besides Biden. In either case, they don't go on Biden's final number.
So how do you think this race plays out in November, Robert? Real quick before we go.
At this point, notwithstanding what the Democrats can build with their machine, it is set for the Republicans to win very big. Now, can they counteract the Democrat machine? It's what the fall is all about.
All right. We will leave it there. Robert Cahaly, good to talk with you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Maria.